Hey guys, it's Matt with the Negotiator's Playbook, and I have an exciting lesson for you guys today. It's actually going to be one that completely changes the way that you look at your prospects and leads, and definitely how you approach them. This is going to be something that I guarantee you've never been taught before, but one that can make an absolutely amazing difference in your conversions. Just a kind of a disclaimer up front, this is generally something that works in a group setting. So if you're involved in networking or passing out business cards or just kind of being in a community, whether it's a chamber event or anywhere where you're going to have, multiple potential customers, this is realistically where it's going to be the best shot. So if you're taking my advice and giving presentations and really building social proof and working with the attraction switches, this is going to build off that really well. At the same time, if you're going to some association or any networking activity, doing this, guys, it's going to open your eyes and it's going to really going to help you in taking that person who is maybe a looky-loo or somebody who's interested but really afraid to kind of step forward and indicate that interest overtly, and enable you to really kind of get them to where you want them to be in a way that you've never tried before. So as we get started, the term that we have in the community, in sales, the term that they have for the person that they're looking to sell something to is either a lead or a prospect. In the community, we just get right down to it, and we're very direct about it. We call them our target. Not our target market, we call it our target. And so in a situation where you're going out and we would go out and we'd see the girl that we'd want, we'd say, man, that's our target. The absolute worst thing you could do is to go up to a girl and start talking to her while two or three of her friends are nearby, because you are going to get hammered, you're going to get shot down, and realistically, going into a group and talking to 4 girls, you might as well, it's the equivalent of talking to 30, because the odds are not in your favor, and her friends are basically going to be doing everything possible to protect her, and that usually involves being really rude to you or just getting you out of there. So one of the things that we would do if we either approached a group or a group would approach us, or we kind of just kind of end up talking to a bunch of girls, we'd identify who the target was. But rule number 1, and this is going to be very different from what you've been taught, rule number 1 is you basically are going to isolate that target. So what it doesn't mean is you're pulling the girl out and talking to her alone, because you're going to get slapped, punched, yelled at, screamed, and embarrassed in short order. But what it means is, look, if I'm talking to this girl, A, B, C, and D, and I'm talking to them, and I'm interested in girl B, realistically what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus all my conversation on girl A, girl C, and girl D. And what happens is it really kind of, it takes down that easy defense mechanism that the group of girls have. If I'm interested in group B, girl B, and I'm talking to girl B, all 3 of them know it, and like white blood cells, they're going to come in and they're going to clean the infection. Whereas if I'm talking to 3 of them, but I'm not talking to girl B, they don't necessarily know. I mean, obviously if I'm there, I'm interested in somebody, but they don't know who it is. So I'm talking to A, but I'm talking to C and talking to D. All 3 of them think, okay, maybe I'm interested in them, but they're not sure because I'm talking to the other 2 as well. But the real big power of that is that girl B is basically asking herself, man, this guy's talking to all of my friends, but he's not talking to me. And that's where kind of a jealousy comes in. And they basically, what they do is they come in and they basically start to enter the conversation, and they want to earn your affection. But the first time around, we're not going to do that. They're going to earn our they're going to come in and earn our affection, and we're still going to talk to girl A, girl C, and girl D. And then, but she's going to continue to be there. She doesn't want to be kind of the odd person out. And so what happens is it's stoking. We talk about spiking attraction. We're stoking that interest over and over. And what happens is, over time, when she goes to a point of basically trying to be involved in the conversation and winning my approval to basically be, be in the group that we're talking to, she's going to go out of her way to try to impress me, which is a dynamic that did not exist before the whole conversation started. But the great part of it too, the cherry on top, was that girl A, girl C, and girl D are completely out of the way. because they're not thinking, okay, this guy's interested in one girl. This guy, maybe he's interested in us or whatever, but he's not really doing what all the other guys do. He's engaging the conversation, and there's no overt kind of target in a sense. They're not looking at a target, but there's no kind of dedicated person that they think that we're interested in that they have to protect their friend from. But rather, it's a complete flank attack where you're going in and you're basically taking down basically their defenses. You're basically making the target, the person you're interested in, work for your affection. So the whole dynamic is them trying to impress you. And on the other end, you've earned 3 people's approval. So they're probably going to even, if you want to bounce, and basically pull her away and talk on her own, they're probably going to let you because you've basically passed their test. Now, that's how we do it picking up girls. Now, in the sales environment, it's really the same. When somebody comes up to you and they say, hey, I like what you said, or what do you do, or how much do you charge? The worst thing you can do, and it parallels what we talked about before, the worst thing you can do is to immediately say, hey, let's set up a consultation, we'll go over my stuff. Translation, let's pin you down for a 30-minute conversation, and by the way, that's my dog, 30-minute conversation where I get to hard sell you, and that is just leaves a bad taste. Nobody wants to do that, and they're probably going to put you off or say, hey, I'll call you tomorrow, but realistically, they're not going to do that. But when somebody comes up and basically you go and talk to them, if you see them as the target, you really want to talk to everybody else, and not that you're going to punish. It's not about punishing them, but you're really going to focus all your efforts on talking to these other people, because then they have this innate interest that they want to find out more. They want to find more about pricing, but yet they haven't earned their way into the conversation yet. So you want to talk to them, and it's not that you're going to ignore them, but you do want to focus your efforts on the other people. And if the genuine interest is there, which it usually is, like 90-some-odd% of the time, then that person is going to continually try to be more proactive and more blunt, realistically, in trying to insert themselves into the conversation. And at that point, you have somebody proactively basically saying, I need to find out what you do. How much is it? I really want to know. And at that point, you basically have somebody ready to go, a lay-down sale, and they're ready to go. But at that point, again, the same thing. You're not closing them there. All your sales trainers are going to tell you to close them there. You do not close them there. At the same time, you don't sit here and do what all the other salespeople do. You don't say, hey, let's set a 30-minute free consultation up, because they know what that means. Low-value people are going to do that because they have 30 minutes. They have an hour all the time. They have tons of free time. High-value people don't have that free time. Okay? Let me repeat that. High-value people don't have that free time. So really what you want to do, and again, it kind of pairs up with the sales seduction sequence that I teach, is you want to have a push-pull element. You want to have something where you're letting them in, but they're not quite in. You want to let them in, but they're not quite there. And realistically, you want to get it. And as you do that, you're basically going to agitate and spike the tension and get them to a point where they're basically telling you, look, I want to buy, what do I need to do? And at that point, you're going to sit here and email me. You're going to go back, you're going to email me and say, thanks, Matt. You're right. I can't believe you did that. This was so easy. I can't wait to do this all the time. And realistically, if you start to learn how to do this, if you start to learn how to approach and identify your target and learn how to really communicate in a way that makes your target want to pursue you, what's going to happen is you're going to start to see people do that. And the great thing is they're secondary targets. So there's people that you may not even identify as a target, and when they see this person basically begging you to let them buy from them, that is going to spike a massive curiosity attraction switch. They're going to want to find out what's going on, and they're going to go over there. But you've already been pre-screened. You have people begging to buy from you, and you're telling them no. Basically, they're going to go over there and realize, man, whatever this guy has, he's different, he's not like everybody else, and there's other people that have shown that what he has is, quote, beg-worthy. And at that point in time, the sales really start to be a lot easier. And the cool thing, when you do this and you have somebody who becomes a customer of yours, the next time you see them in a group setting, you may not know anybody there, and I've had this happen, it's awesome. You're going to walk in and you may not know anybody there. They're going to come up and say, hey, you guys, you need to go talk to this guy. He's awesome. I work with him. The best person he does, they're going to give you the most glowing recommendation in the world. And realistically, you're going to have somebody that went from literally not knowing you, not caring, and completely ambivalent to being extremely curious and ready to buy if you follow these steps appropriately.